Hello Internet and welcome to Outdoor EV Adventures. Let's have a look at my Tesla Model Y camping setup and what I would change about it. Let's start with sleeping. So for a mattress I have this massive package from Travel Sleeper. It's a custom-made mattress for the Tesla Model Y. It's a thick, kind of memory foamy type mattress. It's really comfortable. It fits two people perfectly. But as you can see, it takes up a lot of packing space. And it comes with this handy little fan, so you can both inflate and deflate the mattress. But even though I tried for quite a long time to pack it up with the fan, I just couldn't manage to make it smaller than this. And it's supposed to fit in this bag right here, but I just couldn't make it work. So let me set it up for you so you can see what it looks like when it's set up for sleeping. So to inflate the mattress, you can either use the included pump, or you can simply remove all of the caps on these knobs. I don't know what to call them, but there are a few of them. I think there are 4, 2 at the bottom and 2 up there. So it will self-inflate over the course of an hour or so. But to make sure that we can get it up and running as fast as possible, I'm going to be using the fan. If we look at the pros and cons of the Travel Sleeper, I mean, obviously it's very thick, it's very comfortable, it fits well into the Model Y, and it's tall enough for me, who is 188 centimeters or 6 foot 2, 3, something like that. Every night though, I have to push the seats forward. As you can see, we're kind of overlapping here, so we wouldn't be able to close it up. But then, as far as convenience, I think the biggest thing for me is that if it's just 1 or 2 people in the car, it's fine. I usually leave it made up like this with the covers and sheets and everything on it. But if we're 3 or more people in the car, well, which would be hard. But either way, I would have to roll it up every night, kind of have the fight with the fan and everything. And for that particular use case, I think I would look for something smaller. And I've even noticed to a certain extent, maybe I would like something smaller regardless, so that it would be easier to pack up in the daytime. If I have, they will give me better access to food and the things I use to cook. And if I have outdoor stuff, scattered around the car, it's easier to just grab everything and go when I'm out doing stuff, whether it's swimming or hiking or skiing or whatever it might be. But overall, I think it's a really solid option. And I sleep really well on it. Now, in terms of sleeping, the mattress itself is of course really important. You want to be comfortable, but nothing beats what we have here. This is the bed extension that you simply put over the headrests of the 2 front seats. It attaches, you just push it as close as possible. Then there is some Velcro here that sticks onto the surface on the back of the back seats, and it extends the footwell, make sure that you have a solid surface to sleep on, because otherwise, if you don't have that, when you go to sleep and you put your head down, the mattress is kind of tilting down and your head tips down. And keep in mind now that this seat is in the driving position, so for sleeping I would push it further forward and there would be a larger gap here that would make it even more annoying. So no matter what mattress you get, you need to get something like this, like a footwell extension. They're called different things, but if you start looking at Tesla or like car camping accessory sites, you will undoubtedly find some version of this. One thing that I would like for this one in particular, it would be really nice to have a mesh here, because at night you have the fan ducts down there and that's the airflow going to the back, but it's completely blocked when you have this up and the mattress on top of it. So I typically don't have the rear vents turned on when I have the car in camp mode. I simply use the front air vents that push air through the cabin that way. That would be the one thing I would look for if I was to replace this, but I probably won't. And on top of that, we got these nice little mesh pockets here. Just a really nice product after all. And I'll set it up properly. I'll move the seat so you can see what it looks like when it's all put together as one holy duality of sleeping in your car. The wind is really picking up here, but I have the seats pulled forward now so you can see that there is enough space to close the trunk. I try to keep it as close to the edge here as possible, because I don't really like if I can push the mattress too far forward, so I get like a well here where your feet go down. Not a fan. I try to make it as snug as possible between the trunk and the end of the mattress. But it's hard to get a good night's sleep if you have the sunlight coming in throughout the night. So let's have a look at my sunshades and what I think about them. So here is one of them mounted on the rear passenger side window. This particular window has a fairly good fit. You see, I put it pretty far down, but that's because when you close the door, the window pulls up a little bit. So you want to give it some headway if you put it on outside the car, or with the door open at least. So if we close it, we can see it pulls up, and we have a pretty good fit here. And I typically just push it in to make sure I have as little light leak as possible. But this is the best fit of the kit I have. So the rear windows are typically pretty good, but when it comes to the fit of the front, the windshield, and especially this one back here on the trunk itself, it doesn't fit very well. And you can even see it here on the small ones in the back. Same thing going on. So I really want to replace these. Some of them, and they're pretty poor quality. Some of them, these gaskets here, have broken off because when I pull the suction cups, it puts pressure on it. Some of them have even tore a little bit, so the hole is way too big, so there is light leak through the hole as well. So I would like to replace these with, first of all, I would like a black interior. These are silver on both sides, but I would prefer to have a black interior so that any light that comes in doesn't bounce around as much as it does with the silver interior. And I've seen some new versions that instead of using suction cups, they have springs, or they kind of open up like a reflector for photography, so it kind of tucks itself into the window. I'd be really curious to try one of those out. But if you're looking to get your own set, first of all, make sure you get a set for every window, including the roof, of course. Get black interior sides, or at least one black side, and look at reviews or photos and try to see how snug the fit actually is. Because these, I think, it's one of the worst parts of my particular camping setup. But I think that's it as far as light goes. Let's talk about my probably least favorite part of my entire camping setup, and that's the cooler in front. So, of course, on a trip, you need to have food available to you and keep it cool. This is the Carwise 20 liter, 12 volt powered cooler. It keeps the food very cool. You can even put it in a heater mode if you got hot food in there. It has a decent amount of space, works perfectly for 1 or 2 people, I think. But the two massive drawbacks for me is that it's a really poor fit for the Model Y. So if I'm alone, I can have it in the front seat here, but it's wobbling. So I need to stuff something up here so it doesn't wobble around. Additionally, I can't really open it, and I can't pull this seat far back enough, since I have the mattress there, to make sure that I have complete access to it. So what I typically do, it's a pretty long cord, so what I typically do is that I just pull it out and I get the stuff I need, put it back in. The alternative that I've done a few times is to have it under the seat here. Sorry about the dirt, let's just do like that. But it's too tall. The cooler is too tall, so if I put it here, the headrest is resting on top of the cooler, pushing against, components that I wouldn't like it to push against. We have the fins here, or the fan, something like that, and it's a nightmare to get to because it's so stuck in there. You really need to like wiggle it out and get hold of your food. And on top of that, this is really, really loud. Let's get inside. I'll give you a sound test of what it sounds like, how loud it actually is, because it's really hard for me some nights to sleep with that running in the car. The sound we have right now is the fans are turned off in the car, the cooler is not plugged in. I'll be quiet for a bit so you can hear the difference. So, what do I want to do about this? I'm not really sure. I know that there is a massive cooler that fits in the compartment underneath the trunk space. It's massive, it's expensive, and I'm a bit skeptical of having everything covered with the lid over there and the mattress, how that will actually develop in terms of heat production from the cooler itself. There's a smaller one that fits in between the seats here. It's too small. There's another one you can put in the compartment way back there, but I think that's too small too. So eventually I'm going to go shopping for a new one, and my main thing is going to be having something that's way quieter than this Carwise one. Secondary is having something with that fits well somewhere. I've seen some people on YouTube pull some power up to the front to have a 12-volt outlet up there, and they can have the cooler there. But I think, for me at least, if you drive in the summer, the front compartment gets really, really hot, so it has to work really, really hard and will probably struggle to maintain the temperature you want for your food. And in the winter, if it's minus 10, 20 degrees Celsius, it's gonna freeze anyway. So it's in this kind of weird in-between, having it in the front. I would prefer to have it in the cabin where it's climate controlled, especially if I'm out camping and I'm sleeping in the car, so it kind of maintains a healthy 20 degrees Celsius 24/7 when I'm out traveling. But I think that's it for food. I mean, something I can mention as well is that just when I'm traveling, I typically keep all the stuff I need for like dry ingredients and stuff, and the cooking gear, like the stove I use, is just stored down here. And obviously then these window covers are not down there. And I just use a normal outdoor kitchen. I use a Swedish-made Trangia. Their manufacturing plant is just 30 minutes from here. So, of course, I'm using local equipment. And I think that pretty much covers it. The last thing I haven't mentioned is that for water and stuff, I just use a bunch of water bottles and a few Camelbacks. So I just go and fill it up in gas stations every now and then. But it would be nice to have a dedicated water system, maybe like a 5-10 liter container with some sort of electric pump. I've seen that as well. People have done that on YouTube. It looks really, really nice to have. But on top of that, I would like to have a roof box. I have the Calix Aero loader. It's a roof box built specifically for electric cars. It's aerodynamic, you've probably seen it. I'll throw a picture of it in here. And as you can see in that picture, it's as far forward as it can go, and it puts the trunk lid, or whatever you call it, in a place where it's just not usable. You can't get in or out, you just beat your head. It's hard to get to stuff in the trunk and the storage compartment underneath. So either I would have to make some modifications to be able to have it further forward, or look for another roof box to have on top for camping, because it would be great to just store, you know, all your outdoor stuff. And if you have a table and chairs, that's something that would be nice to keep up there as well. It's something I've been looking at, just to be able to, let's say you're in a parking lot like this, you could just pull it out when you're about to cook, put your stove on top and have your drinks and whatnot, and it would provide a pretty nice cooking experience, I think. But as a whole, that's my Tesla Model Y camping setup and what I would change about it. It's fine, I think, but as you go on longer trips, the last one I was on was for 2 weeks, and these things kind of get to you eventually, and it starts annoying you, and you're kind of grinding your teeth at night. It's like, oh, I wish my window covers were snugger so I didn't have as much light leak from the sun in the morning, especially if you go north in the Nordics. In the summer, you know, the sun barely goes down. And if it goes down, it's up at 2 a.m. or something. And if you parked in an unfortunate orientation, maybe the sunlight hits your face. It's not a great experience to have that in the middle of the night. But that's it. If you have any questions or comments or recommendations for me, please leave them in the comments below, because I would be eager to hear either what you're using, or if you're curious about something in my setup, just let me know and I'll see you down there. And of course, thank you for watching. If you like this type of content, consider subscribing. It would help the channel a lot. And I'll see you in the next one.